African Scholarship for Global Impact, proudly rooted in our identity as proudly African, globally relevant. I am Dr. Alice Nomazulu Ngozwana, and it is my honor to serve as your program director for this event. We have a rich program. I want to believe that we all picked one, with inspiring presentations and meaningful dialogue that highlight our collective commitment to knowledge creation, innovation, and the transformative power of African research on the global stage. To officially open the event, I now invite Professor Mpine Makwe, the esteemed Dean of the College of Education, to deliver the welcome note. Please join me in welcoming Professor Makwe. Is Prof. Makwe in yet? Can we just allow Prof. Munyai to give her a call so that we establish her whereabouts? Thank you. Prof, we are sorry to cut you off guard. We were told to wait a few seconds, so I thought you were around.
Oh, okay. Oh, you called me out?
Yes, I called you to come and give us a welcome note.
Okay, all right.
Can we please welcome Prof. Makwe on the stage?
Thank you very much. I'm still catching my breath. I was in one meeting, running to the next meeting. That's the story of my life. But colleagues, thank you very much and good afternoon. In this cold, cold day, you braved the cold to come and become part of this very important event that we have on postgraduate studies and the work that colleagues are doing in their own respective area. It's very, very important for us as we do research, as we engage in all different types of research. The research for postgraduate students is also central to the work that we are doing, because postgraduate students come in with new ideas, new thoughts, new methodologies that we haven't done before, but that we would like to do. And therefore, it's important for us to gather around here and come up with different ideas. On Tuesday, this is the second part of the College of Graduate, of the College of Education event. On Tuesday, we had an event that looked at AI. We also did a lot of work in terms of how postgraduate students can use AI for different things. In the College of Education, we don't ban things. We use them to our benefit, because we understand that change has to happen. Things have to happen differently. And we know that the more you ban something, you are just pushing it under the table, and you'll never be able to control it. But when you tell your students to go and look for information and see what is missing in that information, then you are doing what needs to be done. But colleagues, mine is just to welcome you, and I'm sending you a little bit of sun, a little bit of warmth from my side, because today is a very cold day for all of you to be gathered here. And I realize the importance of why you are here and the importance of being here. And it's highly, highly appreciated. So I'm looking forward to good presentations. I need to welcome. I didn't even look at the program. Which one? Oh, the current one. Yes, 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 yes. I need to welcome my dearest friend, Professor Jane Johnson. Professor Johnson was one of those trailblazers in ODL. So I think we should take you back. She's one of the trailblazers in ODL. I know originally from the College of Science and Technology. You are most welcome, Prof. And I know that now you are in the office of, you are now in the research space. Much, much appreciated. Dr. Marian Engelbrecht, who's doing a lot of researcher development stuff. And you're most welcome from the Directorate of Research Support. They do wonderful things. They train supervisors, they train students, they train a whole lot of, there's a lot of training that is available. Hence, we cannot sit here and say that there's no capacity when the university is offering so much capacity for different things. And so it's important that we use these opportunities that colleagues go through to great lengths. They go through great lengths to ensure that the UNISA staff and students are capacitated. Thank you so much for joining us. We also have Mrs. Karin Neiman, who's the manager for budget and grants. Oh, finally I see you. Yeah, we had a lot of run-ins with her. You know when people are sitting at the other side and the money person and like, no, we don't do it this way. No, Prof, but this is the money that I have. I have this grant and I need to do this and then no or yes or whatever. But I know, thank you so much. You're most welcome. You need to be nice to this lady. Take chocolate if you have to, or flowers or whatever if you have to. Because they decide whether you are going to be able to do it or not. Thank you so much for joining us today. We are also going to have address by our postdoctoral fellows. Dr. Akintolu, I think is is with Professor Lezeka, our distinguished professor and the chair of ODL. And then we have also Dr. Keita, who's also one of our postdoc fellows. And just a word from them, a voice from them in terms of how to move forward. But then there's a lot of panelists of PDFs from different spaces within the college. We are really, really appreciative that you are here with us to share your work. You know, when I was in a meeting, when we had a workshop on Tuesday, a seminar on Tuesday, I realized how much work it's done in the college. And I don't even know about it. And many of us don't know about it. I think we need to share more within ourselves so that people get to know who they can work with. Because that gave us an opportunity of saying, oh, I can maybe go to that person and chat a bit and see how best I can work with them. And because we are all working as individuals in our corners, as academics, we hardly do that. But I think this gives us an opportunity to identify and to see who to work with. And even postdocs, they can be postdocs belonging to individual academics. But I would really suggest that you start your own support group, because that's very, very critical. And in the college, you will support it. Postdoc fellows, where you meet, where you have your seminars, where you have your your workshops, where just to assist each other. I know that many of you come from far away, and when you are away from home, it's always important to have a group that you can interact with, that you can bounce back, bounce ideas, and some of the things your mentor may not be able to solve them, but your postdoc, because they have walked the journey, they know what you're going through, they'll be able to support you. So colleagues, really it's a wonderful time that we'll be having, and I will also finally, Prof. Ngubane will be the one who is who's giving a vote of thanks and closing remarks. But I just wanted to say thank you very much, and welcome to Dr. Alice Ngozwana, who is our program director, and good luck. You need to keep us awake the whole day. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prof. Makwe, for the warm and insightful welcome. We now proceed with the introduction of our keynote speaker for today. And to do that honor, I will invite Professor Reginald Munyai, who is the head of the Office of Graduate Studies and Research, to introduce to us the speaker of the day. Over to you, Prof. Munyai.
Many thanks, Program Director Kalebo Hadin, for the wonderful introduction. My name is R.B. Rahoreva Munyai, and I am honored to introduce to you our keynote speaker for the day. Her name is Prof. S.J. Johnston, a mathematician with research interest in orthogonal polynomials and special functions. She did it on paper. She knows I hate maths, and she wrote these difficult terms. She joined the University of South Africa in 2012 after studying and working at the University of the Witwatersrand in Johannesburg and the University of Central Florida in the US. She was chair of Department of Math Sciences at UNISA from 2014 to 2018, and thereafter was head of the Office for Research and Graduate Studies for the College of Science, Engineering and Technology at UNISA from 2018 to 2025. I rubbed shoulders with Prof. Johnston last year when we went to, was it Kenya, Prof? Yes. And that is where I was invited to sing at her impending wedding. So I have that honor that I've been invited. She's now a research internalization specialist in the Department of Research Support in Research, Innovation and Commercialization. Prof. Johnston is a member of the South African Mathematical Society, the South African Research and Innovation Management Association, SARIMA, and the Association of University Technology Managers, AUTM. She's a Higher Education Learning and Teaching Association of Southern Africa, called HealthStar Teaching Advancement at University Tau Fellow, and a member of the Universities South Africa USAF Community of Practice for Postgraduate Education and Scholarship, PGES, as well as the SARIMA Communities of Practice for Research Ethics and Integrity Professionals and Research Outcomes and Impact. Please join me in welcoming Prof. Johnston to give us a keynote address.
Thank you very much, Prof. Monyai, for your very warm welcome. It's most appreciated, and thank you, Professor Muckleneuk, for having us today. A very warm welcome to everybody who is here today, in particular the postdoctoral fellows. I've been asked to speak particularly about the postdoctoral fellows. I'm taking the place of Mr. Harry Bapape, who was originally supposed to speak and unfortunately is at another engagement in Durban. So I am here to speak to you today. Yes, that's perfect. Thank you. Instead of him. So I've been asked to, that's perfect. Thank you very much. I've asked to talk today specifically on the Empowering Research Excellence, African Scholarship for Global Impact, particularly for the postdoctoral fellows. And the outline of my presentation, I'm going to talk about postdoctoral fellows. What are they? Postdoctoral fellows specifically in CEDU, what have they achieved? Professor Monyai asked me specifically to talk about, and then I will talk about Empowering Research Excellence, African Scholarship for Global Impact. So as a mathematician, for those of you who are in maths education, you'll know that we always start off with a definition. So the question that you need to ask is, what is a postdoctoral fellow? So first of all, postdoctoral fellows are not UNISA employees. This is something that we start off with immediately. But what are they? They are researchers gaining advanced academic experience, and they're mentored by a host or a principal researcher. So this is what a postdoctoral fellow is. And the question to then ask is, why are they important? Why do PDFs matter? And I'll use PDFs and postdocs and postdoctoral fellows interchangeably if you don't mind me doing so. It's said that postdocs are the lifeblood of cutting-edge research, and they strengthen research productivity, they advance national and global innovation, and they fuel socio-economic development. In particular, the strategic goals that they fulfill are revitalizing UNISA's research culture, boosting high-impact publications, promoting knowledge transfer, growing a strong research network, and elevating postgraduate support. And these, I think, are all very important things, but we do this within the catalytic niche areas, which is something that has been spoken about a lot in the last 4 days. In particular, at our opening that we had on Monday morning, we spoke about the Vice Chancellor's catalytic niche areas. And one of the wonderful things for you as postdoctoral fellows in CEDU is that so many of these catalytic niche areas relate specifically to you and to your research. Whatever research you are doing in CEDU, you can relate it to one of these catalytic niche areas. What are your duties as a postdoctoral fellow? Your duties are, or your main duty is to conduct and publish research, which I know each and every one of you are doing. We also have senior postdoctoral fellows. So after 3 years of research excellence, postdocs are eligible for a 2-year senior postdoctoral fellowship role. And I'm sure Ms. Sneeman will talk a little bit more from a finance point of view about the senior postdocs. But this is what Professor Monyai wanted us specifically to talk about, or for me to indicate to you, is where CEDU is in the college's as a whole. And SEDU is over there in purple. These are the number of postdoctoral fellows per college. CSET is definitely an outlier, so I don't think worry too much about what they're doing. But you'll see that where SEDU is very much along the norm of most of the colleges. You have 29 postdoctoral fellows, and when it comes to the total units claimed from PDFs, particularly for journals, you'll see that SEDU are also there in purple. SEDU claims 9%, and given that there are 9 colleges in the University of South Africa, I think that 9% is very close to a tenth of what the university is producing as a whole from the point of view of postdoctoral fellows. So moving on then to empowering research excellence, African scholarship for a global impact. The question to ask is, what is research impact? And research impact, they say, is the real world difference that your work makes outside of academia. And what was said at the opening on Monday by Professor Muckleneuk is, she said that if you have a look at the integration of teaching and learning and community engagement into research, you'll find that your work affects society, changing lives and shaping communities. It affects the economy, driving innovation and creating jobs. It affects the environment, informing sustainability practices. It affects all of these things. And then, of course, policy as well, influencing decision making. What is it not? It's beyond just the journal. So impact is not just citations. Academic impact is the citations. It's, for example, it's the citations, it's the peer recognition, it's the academic discourse that you find yourselves involved in. We also have knowledge impact, which is public understanding and education enrichment. And then we have the real world impact, which is the policy change, business innovation, and societal transformation, which is what we hope all of our research will eventually impact. So I thought that this picture was quite nice, that it shows you that journal impact is only a little bit of academic impact, and academic impact is only a little bit of what our eventual research impact is, which is relevance, reach, and quality. And journal impact is not the same as academic impact. It's not the same as research impact. Research impact is the real world impact which we are looking for. And ultimately, real world impact is increased by the academic impact and journal impact, which are just small portions of this real world research impact that we see eventually. So another question to ask is, who are you reaching? So when it comes to your research, you need to ask yourself, who reads your research? Who's reading your research? Who is interested in your research? Who cites it? Who's citing your work? So who's taking your work and using it in their research? Who uses it? And who benefits from it? These are the questions that you need to ask yourself when it comes to your work. And in order to have that impact, you need to ask yourself what inspires your research. So inspiration, of course, powers innovation, And this is something, again, that Professor Mokano said on Monday at the opening. Great research starts with great questions, and great questions come from being inspired. So where does inspiration begin? Well, books, book chapters, these open up new theories and deepen your expertise. Books and book chapters can give you inspiration. Journal articles, they reveal what's currently going on in your space, what the gaps are, and any novel methods. Conferences and presentations, this always sparks ideas. Maybe you'll get an idea from this afternoon's presentations. And research meetings where you get to collaborate, critique, and co-create knowledge. Your spark, your impact, where does the inspiration then lead to? It leads to curiosity, discovery, and change. So the question to ask then is, what sparked your latest idea? Can you think of what sparked your latest idea? What did you what have you thought about recently? And Stephen King said something very interesting that I liked. He said that when you're consumed by thoughts, write. When you are uninspired, read. And this is something that, for me, I think is so important. Some people find inspiration in some of the most unusual places. Maybe not necessarily in research articles or reading papers or meetings, but something else entirely different. My advice to you would be to just write. Write now, edit later. If you're feeling uninspired, just write something. This was something that my supervisor of my PhD told me. She said to me, when you're feeling particularly uninspired, or if you have writer's block, the best thing you can do for yourself is to write. Don't wait for inspiration, just write. Progress beats perfection. So you can edit your work later, just write. It doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to exist. So certainly when it comes to inspiration for you, my advice to you is just put pen down to paper and just write. You don't need to type anything, just write down some things. You can brainstorm, just write. I'm going to leave you with, my conclusion is just leave you with this slide. This slide tells you the most and least trusted people in the world. The most trusted in the world are doctors at 54%. After that come scientists at 51% and teachers at 43%. Ordinary people at 27%, armed forces at 22%, journalists at -10%. That means that the number of people who actually trust journalists are less than the number of people who do. Bankers, -11%, ad execs or advertisements, -22%, government ministers, -39%, and politicians in general, -52%. But what worries me about the slide is that scientists and teachers are sitting at about 50%. And that, I think, needs to change. And the only way we can change that is through the impact of our research, the impact of our work, and being inspired to be able to just write. So with that, I thank you very much. And I wish you a good seminar going forward this afternoon. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Professor Johnston, for your inspirational message. Your passion and insights into research excellence and global impact are a true motivation for all of us present here, in particular the postdoctoral fellows. We still have a bit of time. Can I take 2 or 3 people who may want to reflect on the presentation by Professor Johnston? Anyone? 2 or 3 people? Yes, Prof. Ngubane, and then it will be you, colleague here. You will be second.
Thank you so much, Prof, for your presentation. I would like to engage you on the issue of the PDFs, which I'm actually excited that we get to see that SEDU has improved. At least being near 30 is not bad. At what level do we actually determine that we have enough PDFs? Because I've had colleagues that I'll go and say, please get a PDF, and they say no, they were told no, you can't get one. And yet I'm of the view that the research department is encouraging us to get more. So how much, what's the cutoff? Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, Prof. That's a very good question. And I think it depends on a couple of things. It depends on our resources. Certainly it will depend on money, and Ms. Niemand is our money gal, so she'll be able to talk about that further there. But also resources in the departments as well. If there is space for PDFs, and by space I don't mean necessarily physical space, but space from the point of view of hosts, people who are able to, thank you very much, able to then mentor, yes, the PDFs sufficiently. So certainly, I think that is one of the big things. I know that the Vice Chancellor in some of her speeches has really been encouraging the appointment of more PDFs. She wants, I think, 500 overall eventually. So I think the more we can train people to be good mentors, and so that we can have the impact that we want, and we have topics that align to the strategic development goals, that align to the catalytic niche areas. I think that's something that's very important. Certainly I think that that will help us to go much further when it comes to the PDFs in the college. So thank you very much for your question.
Thank you. There was a second hand. Can you please go on?
Thank you, Prof, for the presentation. I think you can.
I can hear you, yes.
During your presentation, you mentioned about showcasing our research outputs through an international collaboration or exposure. Sometimes we have a research output that we want to showcase at an international conference. But right in the college, we're told that we cannot go for international conferences. So how do we go about leveraging this, showcasing our output, and we know that we are going to get additional input from international colleagues? Thank you.
Okay, I think the very first thing that you need to do is you need to apply for funding. I think that is one of the very first things to do, so that you can actually get to your international conference. I know the NRF has got kick funding that they advertise twice a year. It's the Knowledge Interchange grant. they fund people to go to conferences overseas. Definitely, that's something to think about when you applying for funding. There may be funds within UNISA or partial funding through UNISA. You need to speak to Professor Munyai about that. He's your money guy when it comes to the budget in SEDU. So I think that's to start off with. You need to actually get there. Once you get there, you need to then present at the conference, and not just present but publish as well. So certainly collaborate with your mentor and speak to your mentor is my advice to you, so that you can put together something that will be meaningful to not just to the audience but also to your output when you publish. I think certainly that will help you. But thank you very much for the good question. Thank you.
Thank you, colleagues. We are having the last hand. Doc, can you go on with your question?
Yes, good morning, Prof. Johnson. Thank you for your presentation. You started your presentation by highlighting that PDFs, postdoctoral fellows, are not UNISA employees. And against the staggering unemployment statistics, when prospective PDFs hear that might be anxiety-provoking, and that might deter people who are interested in furthering their research careers when they hear that. What is the advantage professionally, and taking into consideration livelihood, what is the advantage of being a PDF?
Ooh, good question. That's an excellent question. What are the advantages of being a PDF? Well, I think that the advantages are numerous, really. The advantage of having a mentor, somebody that you can work with and somebody who can guide you, particularly when you've got such wonderful researchers in SEDU that can guide you and get your research career started. Remember that you start off as a student, you're not employed then. You then are a postdoc, you're not employed then. But from there, you then move into employment. So it's a stepping stone along your journey as an academic. And we've all done it. We've taken those steps along the way in order to get to where you need to be as an academic and as a researcher. And one of the advantages of having your sole duty to be to do research is that you aren't worried about things like your tuition and having 300 or 400 students that you need to, or 4,000 students that you need to deal with on a daily basis. So it allows you to focus specifically on your research and on the things that will allow your research to flourish, so that when you do go into the employment sector and the sector in which you do find yourself then teaching 4,000 students, you're a step ahead. Your research is established, and you find yourself in a position where things like promotion will then become easier because your research is established and you are actively researching, you are actively publishing. So great question. Thank you very much for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof, for your responses to those wonderful questions. I think we can move on now, looking at our time. Thank you. Can we give more round of applause? Yes, what we can capture is that the importance of having a good mentorship when you are a postdoctoral fellow cannot be understated. It is very important, colleagues. We now move to hear from the two key strategic units that support our research ecosystem. And to do that, we call upon Prof. Munyai to introduce the two speakers and welcome them to the stage. Prof. Munyai.
Bagolo, Karin Niemand is my finances board a boss in research. I was excited to meet her after, when I joined UNISA. The first person I worked with was the other Professor Niman without a D, and we wrote a book together. So it's exciting to have these Nimans as friends. She's a recognized research management professional, RMP, by the Southern African Research and Innovation Management Association, SARIMA. I'm sure you heard this with Professor Johnston earlier on. She began her journey at UNISA in November 2011, working in the finance department. She's fond of money, where she supported and advised researchers on proper processes for submitting claims against grant funding. Her growing involvement in the financial reporting processes for the research department led to her secondment in Feb 2017 as acting manager, budgets and grants within the Research Support Directorate. Her passion for assisting researchers has driven her to contribute meaningfully to the development of standard operating procedures, SOPs, for managing external research funding. She currently plays a key role in managing postdoctoral administration, research, financial oversight, and policy development at UNISA. When Prof. Johnston indicated that we have 29 PDFs, I was excited that today Karin will dispel the myth that we only have 29, because yesterday and the day before she sent out several new contracts, and I am sure we are reaching 50 as of today. A dedicated contributor to the research management community, Karin actively participates in SARIMA conferences and initiatives where she shares her insights and helps promote best practices in research and innovation management across the Southern African region. I present to you Karin.
Good morning, good afternoon. Thank you very much for the opportunity to talk to you today. I think it is important that the supervisors and the postdocs also know what is the processes when we get to postdoctoral fellow administration, what's the best practices. So if everybody know what is expected and what is required, then the process is much easier for the people that have to administrate it. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the governance, the application process I will touch, the ZENIX approval, the postdoctoral contract documentation that is required when you got the appointment, the visa requirements, the MIE and SAQA, I believe you know what that is, a little bit of a best practices, and then the time frame or the timelines that we are working with. So if you know what that is, then you are also, you know where we are. So there is policies, postdoctoral fellow policies that provide the purpose of the postdocs and regulate all the activities that you can find on the intranet. The same with the procedures of recruiting of postdoctoral fellows. The colleges, they follow these procedures and they do all the hard work, and then we have to implement the appointment. Then there is a SARS directive also that postdoctoral fellows doesn't pay taxes, so but you still need to apply for a tax number because the system requires that when we loaded the contract on the system. Then it just basically the requirements for a postdoc. If there's a renewal especially, then there must be at least 2 articles that they have to done. And then for senior postdocs, it's 8 articles plus 3 years of postdoctoral contract that they completed already at UNISA. That is just basically. Then the application process. So the colleges, they are responsible to recruit and find the postdocs by headhunting, or what they do, I'm not so sure of, but I believe they have methods. Then the colleges send the application to the research office with the supporting memo for the ZENIX approval. So for new postdoc applications, the minutes of that vetting meeting where they was approved, we require the memo, and then for renewals, the postdoc did do some work in that year, so we asked then also a progress report to see that there was articles delivered. Then for senior postdocs, we require that they at least publish 8 articles. There must be at least publications for 8 units, and they must complete a 3-year postdoctoral fellow contract at UNISA and providing a report on what they presented. And with all that documentation, the research office will prepare a memo to submit to the ZENIX meeting. I mean, that memo is also taking time for us, so we need to prepare it. Last month it was a little bit of chaos with us because we have more than 100 applications received, and then we have to do all these memos for the ZENIX meeting. Then we really asked that we also organize like a list that we present to all the research administrators, and they can indicate what postdocs they want to appoint and then submit it. So there's a share folder with that makes the life a little bit easier for us. But that list is closing like 2 weeks before the ZENIX meeting, because we need also time to prepare the memos, and then the ZENIX also need the information at least a week before, to add it to the agenda. So at the ZENIX meeting, there is the VCs, VPs, and all the deans of the colleges that decide on these applications. They discuss other issues also, but they also discuss in the postdoctoral applications. It's normally on the first Thursday of the month, and then we have to submit the applications at least a week before, as I said, so that they conclude their agenda. So what happened is with the ZENIX, with the next meeting, that minutes is approved. But the research office has the permission to act on the draft minutes, and then as soon as after the meeting of the ZENIX, we receive then the draft minutes, and then on top of that we can issue the contracts. So this is what we have, what we do then. Then the postdoc, the requirements. So then the postdoc will receive, or the research administrator, they will receive the email from the research department, and which indicate that attach the bank details, personal details. There's a to whom it concern document that they have to complete. And then also the principal memorandum of agreement is the contract, which the postdoc have to sign on each, or paragraph on each page, and then the last page full signature. There's a task agreement and the grant letter. That is what we said after we got the draft minutes. So the postdocs need to sign the PMA and the task agreement at least, and then it goes to signatures for the to the his supervisor and like the dean. And then you need to send that document to the research office, who will obtain the signature for Prof. Labuskaghni, the ED of the research department. There's other documents that also have to come with that. The PMA and the task agreement is the ID or passport of the postdoc, certified copies of their doctoral degree, and if they are obtained outside of South Africa, we need the MIE and SAQA document also. Well, I will explain now about that a little bit more. We also require your CV, the personal detail form. It is fully complete with your South African address and your telephone numbers that you're going to use here, and then also the bank details. It shouldn't be more older than 3 months when it was issued, because payroll require that this documentation has to be not older than 3 months, because the people change bank details maybe. Then a renewal documents, if there's a contract that is a renewal, because you think, you know, a research office has the documents, why I have to send it again? But for every contract, all of it is combined, and that full document is then uploaded on the system of the HR. Like the auditors, then they have this full complete document. Nobody have to run around to see where is other documents. Then we also introduced to meet my concern form. It is just where you declare that you are in South Africa and that you don't have any other job opportunities that you are also appointed to, because according to the policy you can only be appointed as a postdoc, not something more. Okay, the visa requirements. On the visa, the UNISA must be indicated. It also have to indicate that the postdoctoral fellow program are followed for 3 years. If that is not indicated, we can't accept the visa provided by the postdoc. Then we also check at the expired date of the visa. So if the visa is maybe just for a year or just for 6 months or whatever, we can only allow the contract up to the end, the date of that visa that is issued. So you have to make sure that your visa covers the whole period. So research administrators at the colleges can assist with visa letters confirming employment, because they ask that maybe also. And then they send it to the research office, and we will endorse the document, sign it, and provide also a stamp that you can forward them to with your visa application. Holders with permanent residence. Permanents, we also require their SR ID that you can apply for online apparently. Okay, the MIE. This is just a document that certifies that your qualifications are in order, especially outside South Africa. There is 2 places, the MIE report, but that report is only valid for us only for 6 months. So if we have a contract for a year, we can only load it for 6 months, because we need a SAQA. The SAQA is actually the document that we require for your for your to verify the qualifications. So if we have the subway, we will load the whole contract. But if it's only the MIE, we can only do for 6 months. That is basically this requirement. Then best practices that I can maybe highlight is no postdoc is supposed to start without a contract that is completed, that you have your staff number, your staff card and all that. Postdocs, they can arrive like 7 days before the start of in the month to do the administration with the bank details or all that stuff. But then the documentation must reach the research office so that we can also load or get the signatures and send it back for the colleges for loading on the system. So, but if it's in the middle of the month, we can't help. Then that contract will continue to the next month. It will start on the first day of the next month and payment will happen on the end of that month. And then the renewals, we ask that the colleges at least 2 months in advance. If the postdoc know that they want a renewal, it is advisable that they finish off the publications and requirements for the next contract, say 2 months in advance. So by the month 10 you're supposed to finish. Then it make all the other processes much easier. Then we also ask that no postdocs should start on 1st of December. There is administration issues that we can't help because the payroll is closing on the 27th of November, and for a contract to start in December we have to load it for December, and then we can load only the payment on the 1st of December. You can't load it on the 27th. So that is causing a lot of problems. Even if there's bank issues, your bank details is not correct. Many people are going on leave, and the run for the payment of the December salary is already here by the 10th of December. Then there's really no time to fix bank issues that you experience. So yeah, that is what we really also ask, that no postdoc should start in December for these reasons. Then I just want to a little bit discuss the timelines that we are working with. So we say an application must be at least 3 months in advance at the college so that they can have time to submit it to us. Then this next meeting, we say around about the 20th of a month. Then we are closing the list. So no new applications by that time can be added. The signing of contracts is like ongoing. So as you send the documentation, we will send it to the ED of the research department, and they will, we will arrange that, and then we will send it back to the colleges for the loading of the contracts. So by the all contracts should be loaded by the 1st, so that we can also load in the payments for that. Because the payments we have to approve by the 7th. What I've noticed at the payroll department, they say the people that approving payments after the 15th, they won't get promotion. They won't get the good performance agreement, which I'm not quite happy with, but that is how far it goes. So if we are late, we are causing that other people can't be promoted. And that is the end of my story. Is there any questions? There's contact details that you can use. Okay. Thank you very much.
This Niemand for outlining the critical infrastructure that supports and empowers our researchers. We are still okay in terms of time. We can take 2 or 3 hands for people who may want to seek for any clarification or who may want to reflect from the presentation that we have just heard. Going once, colleagues. Okay. In the absence of any hand, then we continue. Okay, Prof, I didn't see you.
Thank you. I hope I'm audible. Thanks, Karin, for a wonderful presentation. Quite detailed, comprehensive, and helpful. I just need to emphasize something. I'm sure there are a few new colleagues who've received contracts this week. Some said they will be able to attend. Thank you. And some are online. My observation is that PDF colleagues forget that when we say the PMA has to be initialed, all the pages, and signed on the last page, I witness for the dean. But your mentor, yourself, have got to have a witness. You do not witness for yourself. and it wastes your time because I have to send it back. Just keep that in mind, that you have to find a witness other than yourself, and each page has to be initialed. That's all I'm asking. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof, for that contribution. And then we move on now to the address by our senior postdoctoral fellows, and then we have Dr. Akintolu. He is a senior postdoctoral research fellow with the UNESCO Chair on Open Distance Learning, and he has published extensively, more than about 20 research articles, co-authored 2 books, and he's currently developing a research book on adult education in Africa. Can you please welcome? The stage is yours.
Dumelang. Sanibonani. Good afternoon, colleagues. My name is Muckleneuk Akintolu. I'm from the UNESCO Chair on Open and Distance Learning, College of Education. I'm just here to give my journey throughout my postdoctoral fellow, under the mentorship of Professor Leseka, and then I hope you enjoy the ride. I would like to appreciate the College of, is this my slide? No? Okay, yeah, I think it's my slide, okay. I would like to appreciate the Graduate Studies Department unit for organizing this and putting it up for our postdoctoral fellow. I just want to play a little mind game with us, and then I'm sure you see what is on the slide. I'm sure for maybe for Gen Z's, and then let's see the baby boomer will catch up with this. Please, what do we have there? What's the full meaning of that on the slide? Laugh out loud. Okay, the next one. The next one. then this. This. All right, thank you so much for that. While I move on, the theme for this week, R&I Week, is proudly African and then globally relevant. When we look closely, we found out that most of our postdoctoral are from different parts of Africa, and then I think on that premise, we found out that Africans are probably inclusive in UNISA process of doctoral fellow, and then globally, it makes us relevant in sharing our ideas to all over the world. When we checked there, we found out that according to the report by the African Continental Free Trade Area, the Secretary issued in January this year, that the trade amongst Africa is 13.6. That was in 2022. Then in the year 2023, it moves further to 14.9. Now the question I now ask is that compared to other Asian and then Europe countries, you can see that there's a huge gap, and then we now need to ask ourselves, how do we trade ourselves in academics on the continent of Africa? Bearing in mind the theme of this week, R&I Week for UNISA. We need to talk, we need to share, we need to rewrite, and we need to reaffirm the research excellence we do as a university and college. Here, as I'm fondly called, I'm Dr. A. I joined UNISA in 2021, and then from 2021 to date, UNESCO chair has been a home for me, and then I will talk more about that. I joined UNISA in January 2021, and then it's to my surprise, I did tell people like probably it's a testimony, and I cited my mentor in September, because we all know what happened due to the COVID issue. Then we just talk online, we do Teams meeting, but we cited ourselves. That was in September 2021. So after 10 years of working together, and then 10 months of working together, and it's really a good time there. At the UNESCO chair, basically, when I joined, most of our research is driven by what UNESCO chair is, and then we try to, because it's believed that the fourth core theme here was actually generated from what UNISA stands for as an ODL institution, promoting research, promoting collegiality, collaboration, and all that. So these themes are what drives our research at the UNESCO chair, and that's what I worked through my 3 years as a postdoctoral fellow. The first theme there is to produce ODL research that is responsive to UNISA, to UNITA's vision of the African University, shaping future in the service of humanity. The second one is to build capacity geared at improving the quality and coverage of higher education through the open distance learning ODL mode, to position the UNESCO chair at the Southern African Regional Hub for integrating system of research, training, information sharing, and documentation in ODL. The last one there is to align with international players in order to facilitate exchange and collaboration in the delivery of quality distant education and service to humanity. Those are the objectives that stand between me and the UNESCO chair, and that actually gives to what we do at the UNESCO chair. Objective 1 and 2, how I try to align my work and the work we do at UNESCO chair with the objectives I stated in the last slide. We do have our monthly seminar, which we bring people that have actually walked the talk in the space of ODL, and then we organize our monthly seminar where people come and from different walks of life. You can see on the slide there, we have posters of past presenters and people both from Africa, Southern Africa, because we are conscious of that, then from the global scene. Then the research. In a brief, what I've done over the for my postdoctoral fellow years, in the space of 3 years, my postdoctoral research fellow, I solo and co-authored 27 research papers. Then book projects. This emanated from our annual UNESCO chair programs conference that we always have every year. So the first book was actually a collation of all presenters. We called for book chapter. Then we have it published there. Then one in press. So in total, I have like 2 to my name during the process of doing my postdoctoral fellow. The one in press is All Things Research in Open and Distance E-Learning, which will be published by UNISA Press. I will share the others later. Then the NRF rating. I was able to apply for my NRF rating, and I would actually appreciate the College of Graduate Study of the research for their support throughout the process. These are some of the papers that were published during the process of my 3 years postdoctoral fellowship. The last one on your right-hand side there was the first book that was co-edited with my mentor and then Professor Roberts. So she was so instrumental, at least guiding me and putting me to how to actually walk through how to co-edit books. And some of the journals there that I published with my mentor. Then these are other research outputs that actually emanated from what I've done. Publication in process. These are the first article there will be published soon. It's already accepted, and then it will be published later this year, this month. Then I would like to talk to that, the second article there. This was actually initiated by my mentor, and then it's so fascinating that we are writing a call for book chapter for like, I think 47 people contributed in that chapter, and then he deemed it 47 chapters? 57, thank you, Prof. So which is co-edited by Professor Sanjaya Mashri from Commonwealth of Learning, Santosh Panda from National Open University in Indira Gandhi, then Anna Kwam at Tabasta University. These are notable people when it comes to the field of open distance learning. So they make a call, and then we are able to push through, and then it's a laudable project, and then we are able to write from our own context what ODM means, because different people are writing from their context what ODM means. People from India, Germany, England, and also. So we are able to contribute, and the chapter is titled University of South Africa. So I saw a couple of days ago that the book, I just saw probably a prompt on ResearchGate. So I was like, somebody was requesting for the chapter. So I went to check, and I found out that it's not uploaded, but I saw coming soon. So I tell you, coming soon. So then the one in press is a book chapter 2, which I co-authored with colleagues from University of Forte, UNISA, and publication under review. These are the list of publication under review, and then I don't want to bore you much, but it's just there. Then because my research, which is focused on adult education, ODL, sustainable education. These are areas and probably technology, because we are in the ODL, so I've written paper in those themes. Then research in progress. These are the, as I said earlier, areas that which I focus on the research, my research niche. Conference, this was one of the conference I attended in 2021. This was in Tanzania. It was a self-sponsored conference I attended. So, but I share where I'm referring to what Prof said earlier, where we need to actually hear our voice out there, and then for people to be able to see us, what we do as a researcher, and hear us and share our research output with probably counterpart both in the continent and outside the continent. This was sometimes in 2022. One thing I need to acknowledge here is that our mentor will always drive us to conference. Guys, I'm going, you have to go with me. So that's my mentor there on the left-hand side. The woman there is a postdoctoral fellow, but it's not more with UNISA, then I am the one there. The picture on your right-hand side there is we do have what we call like something like end of the year undaba, sort of, where we plan for the incoming year. This a picture. This was in UNISA in Durban, where we try to plan for the following year on how we go about our research activity for the coming year. As a unit, UNESCO chair on ODL meets, we do a kind of meet and greet, where we call it the business meeting, and then to catch up with each other and keep informed with the UNESCO chair activities and update on our research activities, mostly online. Then it's probably twice in a month. Number 4 objective there, which I stated earlier, research collaboration. I work with some colleagues in UJ, coming up with a project, UJ, CUT, and UNISA, where we time our research area to be our topic, to be South African perspective on sustainability consciousness at universities, a key factor for advancing SDG in the era of fourth industrial revolution. This actually opened me up to another side of collaboration, because I work with people from other universities, and then we're able to produce like three papers now. One is under review, and I hope it's out soon. So that's part of the collaboration I form. I joined a team of colleague from Nigeria, where we wrote a grant proposal for third fund. It's submitted. It's worth 25,000 rand, and then we hope we get it. Then the second one too was for Codesra, which has been submitted now. We hope we get that too. During the course of my postdoctoral fellow, we came up with a proposal on the integrating technology into adult literacy program in South Africa, and then we noticed that as a UNESCO chair, we can't do that on our own. It will be as if we are infringing on some one or two departments. So we're actually going collaboration with the Department of Adult, and which we are still on. We've gotten ethical clearance for that, but we are still looking for a way forward. It's an ongoing project now. Lesson learned, and then PDF takeaway. I was able to work on my collaborative skills, as evidence in what I've produced over the 3 years. And I know it's a work in progress, but I was able to work on that. Presentation skills, I was able to attend few conferences, mostly local, and then it actually gave me the confidence to be able to present my idea, my output, and whatever I've done, whatever I've put on paper. So the same thing, research, writing skills actually developed during the process, and then the network skill that has been there too, and then I would appreciate my mentor for that. And I always tell people that he won't tell you meet this person, he will just tell you this is my postdoc, this person, then where you take it to is left to you. So that's the way we do it. The interpersonal relationship, yeah, meeting people from different walks of life, from different parts of the country, and then it has been a journey worthwhile. Then sharing, and sharing. It has been the mantra. And then, yeah, during the process of the journey, there has been challenges that need to be overcome to make the lives and working condition of PDFs enabling and then supportive. At a point, I want to actually remove the slide. And then, but I believe so much that we are in a safe space, and then we are in academics. We should be able to hear our opinion at some point. So, yeah, thank you. Our postdocs, sometimes office space are a little bit challenging for us. Some do just use the library as their office. They resume in the library and they close in the library. So most of this thing that I will state here is basically from the premise that I've been here for over 3 years, and then it's not because of it's anything but at least, and I can boldly say that I have personal relationship with at least postdoc in education for like at least 70% of them. And from those people that work in the quantitative aspect, we say it's a good number to actually boast off that, yes, you have the fact and evidence of saying why this. Then the second thing is that somebody mentioned, I don't know whether it's Prof earlier, that talked about training of hosts or mentors. This is a bit areas that we should look into. Some of my recommendations are not meant for the college. Some are meant for the research office. Some are meant for the college. Some are meant for the research unit. So I'm just trying to state it the way. Stipend review. This is actually one of the things that because I'm sure the person in charge of the money is here. I wouldn't call the woman the person in charge of money. So it's because I got I was trying to check, when we go to shopping, maybe ShopRite or whatever, I was trying to check the invoice, that slip they print out for you. I think Settler Sugar, I was looking at the price then, and the price of Settler Sugar, I said, no, that means there's a need to review the stipend. And I was even checking the number of, the amount of electricity units they give me in 2021. And I look at the unit they gave me in 2025, and I said, I think this is a thing we can put forward and see how it goes. Then teaching module, I intentionally put volunteer in bracket. I will share an experience with you. That lady between me and my mentor, when she finished her postdoc, she applied for a job. And then the only thing, after publishing over, numerous articles in both national and international paper, she was only disqualified because she didn't have teaching experience. If we are building postdoctoral to become future academics, then I don't know, maybe we should reconsider it. I know some will argue that the researchers are meant to come, postdoc stated in policy, postdoc are meant to come and do research, but after 3 years or 4 years or 5 years, what becomes them? Because I'm sure some of our senior colleagues here have sat down in panels, and then they have 3 balls they tick. It's tick. If you don't have it, you don't have it. If you have it, you have it. Then after postdoc, we only have research in the post that we are going to tick. Then how do we get the job? shows that you have actually trained us to get the job. You have in mind for us to be able to, be those people that will carry on from where you stop. So that is on that. I put voluntary there anyway. Editing and page fees. It has been a loggerhead. I just concluded some times ago that I need to go to Doaj and others and try to check without page fee, because it has been, when we submit, sometimes the journals will be threatening us, writing, they will revoke, they will report our names, they will do this, they will do that, and it has always been an issue for us to get the page fee. Then editing, it's, I know we have, because one of my colleagues sent an WhatsApp message to me a few days ago. He said, "Doc, how do we edit our work, language editing?" I said there are 3 options. Edit at UNISA AC, personal effort, you pay the editor yourself, or you ask if the journal has internal editor, just tell them, include the editing in the money. They shouldn't state it, just include in the APC. Those I told her. Then I said the first one, I may not advise you to go through, because it may take 2 months before you get your paper back when you said to edit at unisa.com, unisa.ac.za. So which one do we sort for? And we are postdoc. We have our deliverables. When it's 12 months, Professor Moyayi is expecting the output. So that is very important. And plagiarism checker. It's a really big blow on us. We don't know whether UNISA have anything for us as regards that when it comes to, I don't know, but I'm just stating it here, so that can be considered for us to be able to do our research, and it's a way of supporting us to be able to improve on our productivity. What I observe during this period is that I noticed that there is no unlimited particular framework for postdoc operation and campus. There are numerous things like I mentioned, but time will not permit me, but we can take it further. Then conference attendance. In my 3 years, although there are some other 1 or 2 each year, I have not attended any international conference under the umbrella of UNISA. Now, why I put student or staff there? Yeah, it's stated clear that we are not an employee, but some things I question in my head. I have a staff card. Those are things, you see, that's why I stated the previous one. I have a staff card. I have, those things are, but it's just, let's leave it there. So awareness of postdoc in the college. This act to actually, so for us to be able to feel welcome. Most of the time, because the awareness is not there, people that are just coming. And the reason why I'm stating this is that I have relationship with at least 70% of postdoc. Stressing this further, this awareness of postdoc is the issue of, most times when they come, the letter states that you arrive 2 weeks or thereabout before you're captured and all that, and postdocs struggle with accommodation. They are new, they are from different countries, and it's a big blow, so I wouldn't know. Why I'm saying this is that I'm not saying to the college, I'm just saying it probably to the school as a whole. So that could be looked into, and then way forward as a PDF. As I said earlier, I have 2 co-edited books, and then according to my mentor said, when I finish my 5 years, I must have 5 co-edited books to my name in total. So I'm working towards that. Then I have one book that I'm a lead editor. That's the one that was cited in my bio there, which is titled Development and Management of Adult Education in Africa. Then the proposed publisher will be Paragraph Macmillan, which is owned by Springer. It's proposed to be published in 2026. The one for open distance learning, it's a book series that was launched by my mentor, which I'm one of the co-editor for one of them. The first one is under review, which is we focus on OER, open educational resources. This one is focusing on ODL and some couple of others that are focusing on multimodal learning, 4IR and others. So then the last book that will make it 5 is a collaboration that I have with other colleagues from other university, which is on sustainable development. Now I need to appreciate the research and guided study unit, College of Education, appreciates for both past and present leadership. They've been supportive and they've pushed me through the process. Then department, dev, then all members of staff. And lastly, I need to thank the man on the slide there. 50 years old with 17 years experience. He has been wonderful, and then throughout the journey, Prof. Leseka. I'm referring to Prof. Leseka. Thank you so much, Prof. Then the final thoughts. If we knew what we are doing, it will not be called research. Will it? About Esther. Let us carry it forward and not remain in this team alone. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you so much, Dr. Akintoli, for sharing your journey and showing your contributions to the scholarship and excellent research, especially what you are doing for the college. It's much appreciated. I highly resonate with what you have mentioned, because I have been one postdoctoral fellow in the department where I'm working at. It used to be ABET. So it is very true that it is important for PDFs to actually volunteer and engage in issues of teaching and learning. I used to volunteer secretly. I didn't make it known because it wasn't allowed back then. I had thought that that has changed by now, because it is very important for UNISA to actually grow their own timber. So starting by volunteering, exposing yourselves, in engaging in all the KPAs would serve as an advantage for you whenever the positions could be advertised. Thank you for that sharing. Do we have Dr. Kula? Am I pronouncing it well? Kayla, okay. Can you please also come to the stage to share your experiences? Over to you.
Thank you. I almost feel like after that presentation, mine's going to be a little bit of a letdown, because, you know, it's a very good example of what you can accomplish when you put your mind to something. Thank you everyone for this wonderful opportunity. It's so nice to be in a room full of professors and colleagues and postdocs, and just kind of share our own journeys with each other. And I'm looking forward to the discussion after this as well, because we all need to share our experiences. Okay, so today's presentation is just going to be a little bit of an introduction. I'm going to just talk a little bit about myself and my background, and then talk about some of the publications that I've been involved with, and just some community engagement. I think my focus has been on that a lot. Some community of practice, and then lastly, some of the support that I've received at UNISA and some of the barriers. And I think I can relate very well to what the previous postdoc has said about their experiences. Okay, so I did my undergraduate studies at the University of Pretoria. I'm actually a speech therapist, and I did my master's and PhD in augmentative and alternative communication. So I've been working for, well, not now anymore, but I have worked for about like 7 years in the public school sector with children with disabilities, learning disabilities specifically, and physical disabilities. And so I had the immense pleasure of starting to work with Prof. Johnson in my master's studies in 2017. And she's been my supervisor since then. And then she kind of moved to UNISA and I moved with her because I really wanted to do a postdoc. She is just an amazing person and such a good example. So I started my postdoc in July 2023 and now I'm in my second year and my final year has been renewed. So we'll see how that goes. Very exciting. I'm not sure if I will be able to accomplish all like our colleague, but we all have our own journeys and experiences to share. So just a little bit about the publications that I've done so far. We've published about 8 articles currently. And then there's obviously a lot under review and some other manuscripts that we are currently, that's currently in production. So the niche catalytic niche areas that I kind of specialize in would be education and then looking at health studies and also the 4th industrial revolution and industrialization. We've been quite involved with like mHealth applications as well. And so some of my research obviously focused on nursing studies and communication in, for example, person-centered care and training of nurses and also school teachers. So I'll talk a little bit more about my research a little bit later. And then other publications that I've done as well is my main supervisor, who is also co-supervising with Prof. Johnson. She was involved in a international project where they kind of created this website where they provide information about speech-language pathology disorders. So people who had, for example, a traumatic brain injury and how their communication looks and things like that. So she had asked me to kind of write some information pages on that as well. So that was a very nice initiative to kind of give back towards the community as well. All right, so some of the conferences we've mentioned before that some, unfortunately, some of the postdocs haven't been able to attend some international conferences. But there are obviously different options because some conferences provide online options as well. And then obviously you can apply for example, early career research support. And then they provide, for example, travel allowances and they pay for your flights and conference attendance fees. So that's also an option to be able to attend international conferences. And these conferences are really, really nice because you meet the experts in the field and they create opportunities for you to collaborate in their projects and start your own as well. So I'll give you a little bit of examples a little bit later. Okay, so just some awards and funding that we've received. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but I think as a postdoc, sometimes you can feel like you work in a silo and you work very hard. And it sometimes feel that you don't get the recognition. You do in a sense because you publish. Well, that looks very nice. But I think as a personal motivator, it's quite nice also to get, for example, an early career research award or that your article has been published in the 10 most cited journals or something like that. So that kind of motivates you to work a little bit harder as well in a personal sense. Okay. And then obviously I'm involved with some student mentorship and supervision as well with my mentor. And there's obviously some more students because UNISA has a lot of students. So that requires support. And I've also been involved a little bit with mentoring undergraduate students in speech therapy at some of the universities just to support them as well. And to kind of just keep my fingers in the field almost as well. All right, and then some of the projects, the community engagement, kind of just giving back to the community that we've been doing is, for example, we've been training doing communication partner training for hospice caregivers, and it was just such a beautiful experience. It was so supportive towards these carers and just valued their humanity and their dignity. So they found it very beneficial as a group effort and as supporting each other, but also supporting the patients that they work with. And then also, these were some of my own projects that I've been doing during my postdoc, and then also kind of using mHealth applications with children with learning disabilities and physical disabilities and seeing how they perceive this mHealth app and how they could potentially use it for example, digital journaling because we've been seeing that in the school setting specifically, especially after COVID-19, the mental health crisis has kind of increased with school-age children. So that is something that we kind of wanted to address in that sense. And then we've also been working on training teachers at schools who work with profound intellectual and multiple disabilities. We've been training them on communication as well, and they've also found it very beneficial, especially in the government context, and then also looking at ASC training within the rural context as well. So I think as a researcher, it's really important to give back to the community. And to not let your almost research just go into a cupboard and collect dust, but actually doing something with it. Because a lot of time people in practice do not know what is happening in the research world, and we need to contribute and give back in that sense. Okay, and then just some community of practice at UNISA specifically, well, not UNISA specifically, but just kind of networking a little bit. So I found it very beneficial to have an ORCID ID. I'm sure you all are familiar with that term. Because it links all of your publications to a specific profile. ResearchGate's also really nice to kind of network. And if you don't find a specific journal article that on the library, you can contact, for example, the original author of that specific publication. And then LinkedIn is also very nice. An example of using LinkedIn is I had recently presented at a conference in Ireland, and one of the presenters, she's an Irish researcher that's now working in Australia. She contacted me over LinkedIn to kind of collaborate because she found that our research interests were kind of similar and that she wanted to collaborate on a potential project in the future. So that's why it's so important to kind of attend these conferences to meet people. So yeah, I think that's a bit of quite nice. And then Web of Science is also nice because if you have to apply for your NRF rating, some of these profiles obviously assist you with identifying your H index, and then obviously also if you review articles for journals, then those points also, or articles that you've reviewed, they also go to Web of Science and you get credits for that. So that assists you when you apply for your NRF rating to kind of just provide evidence that you've done something. So then obviously I have been reviewing articles and article editor for many journals. And then at UNISA specifically, which is such a privilege, and I've seen some of my AI committee members, which was really nice to see their faces again. We've been involved in kind of just developing some guidelines for the ethical use of AI, and then also a short learning program on AI and universal design for learning, and how that can be used, for example, for students with disabilities and how to support them as well. So, and then also something that I've been involved with is the AI and gamification. So as a researcher, I think it's important to develop holistically. So it's important to be a good researcher, but also to use that and give back to the university that you're working at, to the participants of your research, as well as the local research community, or not the local, but the international research community as well. Okay, and then 4 projects that we've been collaborating with. So this is a very interesting story. Well, for me it was interesting. I'm not sure if it will be for you. So my mentor and I went to Lund. We had a SARSUF conference, which is a South African and Swedish collaboration. And we went there, and so we had various presentations. And so when we came back from that conference, one of the researchers from South Africa, she works at the University of the Western Cape, she had contacted us to hear if we could potentially in South Africa collaborate on an AI project. And well, she was the principal investigator, but then that opportunity or responsibility now kind of fell on me. So we will see how that goes. So that process is in the planning for this year and for next year. But it's quite nice because there are multiple universities that are involved in South Africa in that specific project. So we're very excited about that. And then we also have my mentor, I can actually say both my mentors, Prof. Johnson and Prof. Kleisquin-Johnson. Both of them are busy with their own projects. So for example, Prof. Johnson has had a collaborative project with and grants, I think it's the 3rd time that this grant has been renewed for an email application, and it's collaborative process with, like, for example, Swedish researchers. And it's so nice because as when you're involved in those processes, you kind of get to know people as well, and you start collaborating with some other team members on potential projects for yourself as well. So it's a really nice project, and it's also nice to see the sustainability of the grants as well, because a lot of grant applications nowadays look at sustainability when you do your application. All right, and then the Big for Wellbeing, which is the emails app that we've been involved with. Prof. Klasko and Johnson got a grant last year, and we're really excited to see how that project is going to go and progress. Dr. Emil Gous is also involved in that process, so it's really nice to see how everybody kind of collaborates together. And then the last one is actually quite interesting as well. I feel everything is interesting. That's research for you, eh? And then so the last one is kind of went from my own PhD research. So my research was focused on communication partner training for persons who are minimally conscious. So that was a wild ride, but we got there. So what was interesting is some of the strategies that we used to communicate with these patients were actually, I presented this at a school, and then they found that the strategies you used for a very comatose patients almost, is quite similar to strategies you would use to communicate with children who are severely and profoundly disabled. And so we found out that we could potentially use these strategies and adapt this communication partner training program. And this Belgium researcher, or I don't know if you could use another word, she was actually, sorry. Yes, I will wrap up, I'm sorry. You see, when you start talking, you just never finish. And anyway, so I'm almost done. So she actually was an external examiner of mine for my PhD, and that's how I got to know her as well. So that's quite nice to utilize those people as well as researchers. Some of the very good supports, I think, that I've received from UNISA is obviously the best blessing I could get is my mentor. She is just an absolutely amazing person. She's very supportive. She really advocates for me within the department, and she's proactive in including me in different communication processes, in different projects. So that's a really big privilege, I could say, that I have from her. And she's also an amazing woman. So in a general sense, I would say I'm very blessed. And then some other resources. I'm not going to go through all of them in detail. These are just some nice things that UNISA has provided, and then obviously there are some barriers, but thank you, Ms. Sneeman, for explaining the communication process. That makes the communication a little bit better. And then obviously there's other factors that you should also kind of think about, for example, like grant application and the absorption into permanent positions, because there's a lot of postdocs that remain postdocs for 20 to 10 years and they don't have posts. But I understand that, because I mean there's lots of postdocs and not a lot of funding for permanent posts. But anyway, all right, so that was a whole mouthful. I hope I didn't bore you to death and you're not asleep. So thank you so much, everyone.
Colleagues, another round of applause for our beautiful presenters. I just need to make a small request. Karin is going to leave now, so I'm going to take her out with a few of my colleagues here for a group photo. And then we will continue with Q&A for our senior PDFs. Then thereafter, Dr. Sommer will explain how the setup is going to be like, because she's going to lead the panel discussion. So we're going to ask that all the PDFs who are on the program should occupy maybe the first 2 lines here. I don't know, you'll tell us how you're going to do it. But for now, I'm going to leave with Karin, the Dean, we'll have another a session for a group photo with the rest of us who are remaining, but for now we need a picture with Karen. I'm going to go out with the Dean and Prof. Ngubane, and then you'll continue with Q&A. Thank you.
Thank you to our senior postdoctoral fellows for their wonderful journeys. You actually reminded us of the impact and the potential that lies within the research that you do for the college. We really appreciate. And then we now move to what is a promising, vibrant, and engaging panel discussions, which will be facilitated by Dr. Somo. Let's welcome Dr. Somo so that she can introduce the different groups and the questions to be posted to the panelists. Or before then, can we have few questions to Dr. Akintolo? If we can just raise our hands in the meantime so that we take those 2 or 3 questions. In fact, to both of our senior PDFs. For anyone who has presented, can we have those questions? Yes, thank you. I recognize your hand.
Thank you so much. I don't know, maybe I've missed it. But I just want to reassure. It's painful for me as the chairperson of the Training Funds Committee when a postdoc comes to me and wants to apply for training funds. So I don't know if that question was addressed, and then I have to turn him back and say, but you do not qualify for the training funds. Just tell me whether that question was addressed. I think there was something on it in a slide that spoke to the matter of.
Yes, Dr. Akin will come and address the question. Do we have the second one? Or here's the other hand here.
I just want to add to the question that was asked just now that I recently sent the paper on the international conference. Then when I talked to my mentor, he told me that he will ask for funds. Then I registered using my money last year to this conference. Then the answer that I got, he said that I cannot travel because there's no funds for me to go there. I think it's one of the conferences in Chile that will be taking place in July. Then my paper was accepted there, and the closing date was 17 May. They even reminded me yesterday that you need to register. Then we will give you until 24, which is I think it's a Saturday.
Yes, we can.
So yeah, then where we can go to get those funds so that we can go to conferences internationally. Thank you.
Thank you. There's a hand. Prof wants to say something. Can you please give it to Prof Letseka?
I can still speak from here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I wanted to know why you are there, Program Director. The question that Dr. Prince raised, I don't think Dr. Kintolo should answer that question because he's a postdoctoral fellow. We cannot expect even a senior postdoctoral fellow to explain institutional processes because he's affected by that. The questions in the front, And Professor Munyai, I'm glad you came back from your gallivanting. We had an issue at the College of Education. We had a big issue when we went to our conference in Sun City.
Tire conference.
Yes, we had a big issue where as mentors, and there was about 15 or 16 of us, we faced a scenario where we were told that our postdoctoral fellows will not be supported to go to the conference. Prof. Menya, we communicated about this. Is not gossip. We spoke about it, and we took the matter up. I was the first one to say, but that's absolute nonsense. It is nonsense, and when nonsense is nonsense, it has to be called up. It's nonsense, and we were constantly repelled by the college management. No, you can't do this. You can't do this. We took the matter up and asked Mr. Bopape to explain policy. He did. He explained policy. Article 8.4.8 of postdoctoral fellows, research fellow, provides for postdoctoral fellows to be supported by the college. Again, that matter was rebuffed by our college. The time for the conference is coming closer, and we didn't communicate to our mentees because these are matters that you have to deal with as mentors. Eventually, I said to colleagues, we need to escalate this matter. Look, colleagues, if you deal with a matter at the college and it's being stunted, you should know that you have legal recourse to escalate the matter and seek advice or intervention on that. So we took the matter up to the executive director, Professor Leslie Muskafni, who made it very clear that no, postdoctoral fellows, it's the responsibility of the colleges to support them. Money is given to the colleges to create provision for postdoctoral fellows to attend conference. So if you say a postdoctoral fellow cannot travel because there is no money, I'm saying to you, whoever is your mentor needs to find out the facts and learn. No, processes that needs to support. So I just wanted to make that very clear because I think we keep talking about the moratorium. Nothing like that exists at UNISA. The directive from the executive director of research, together with I think in consultation with the VP research, Professor Miller. So word comes from the VP down, and it gets what's the word? Sabotaged. So we cannot be talking about moratorium. We cannot be talking about no support for children. We are being disingenuous. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof, for that response. I think it really helps all of us. I don't know if Prof. Mia, you would want to say something because the question was in regard to the rejection of the training funds that are in support of the postdoctoral fellows when they are supposed to attend any trainings, including the conferences. But then Prof. Letseka has just explained the situation regarding the previously attended TIRE conference that was held in April.
Thank you very much. I hope I'm audible. The mics seem to have tied. All of them are linked. It's a technical issue. Only yours is working. Because you are UNESCO. Thank you very much, Prof. I really understand and share your sentiment. The challenge that we had at the deanery is that the communication was two-way. It's always safe when you get directive from your principal that this is the situation and you should stick by it. Especially in writing, when your colleagues are getting a message which you haven't received, it becomes a problem. Remember, I report to the VP research, and if I don't get anything from her, it becomes a problem that I will ratify or approve something. At the end of the day, I'm the one that has to account to her. And I apologize if there was some inconvenience caused by the confusion, but you know, when like now there is a meeting on research outputs, where I will be told with other colleagues that this is the situation in writing, then I'm able to cover myself. I'm sure you understand that I am an accounting officer and I need to have my back covered. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof.
Can I follow up on that? Do allow me to follow up on that.
Okay.
No, I'm saying program director because I know you're looking for somebody else. Can I follow up on that through your permission?
Yes, you
Prof,
can
yeah.
just in a...
Yeah, Prof. Minyai, we are talking about policy here. As a senior professor, and I worked in the Department of Research for 4 years. We are custodians of policy. What Mr. Bopape and Prof. Stephanie did was to refer us to policy. I expect the college senior management to understand policy. What was happening then was a clear breach of research policy. The specific articles were mentioned that the deanery, everybody else should know this. There it is. So we're talking about a breach of policy that then compromises and disadvantages the policy. It's not about whether it was communicated to you, it's about policy. Policy is there. We were referred to a specific set of articles of policy that govern how this whole process goes. That's just what I'm pointing at. It's not about you, a person. It's about policy being breached. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof, for that contribution. I saw, okay, yes, Prof.
with a disability. And when he travels, he's always accompanied. That's the United Nations Convention on the Rights of People with Disability and, you know, best practice for reasonable accommodation. So I was told when our conference application process started at the end of 2024, please seek co-funding, because you're not asking for one person, you're asking for two people. So what happened, Dr. Gous, my postdoc, is the president of the board of directors of the ICDL based in New York. And the board then sponsors his tickets. So the tickets are issued. We've now submitted the application form and receipts more than 12 times, eh, Emil?
Sure.
We're not even getting acknowledgement anymore that we've received your application. So in this case, where the tickets had been issued, remember I was advised, seek co-funding. There's no way you can take this to the CEDU Exco, you're asking for too much. So we get the tickets covered. And then he has to take a bank loan to pay the rest because he's sitting with his tickets. And it's not just, he's going to now represent UNISA at an international conference where he's been asked to introduce the keynote speaker, Professor Grandin Temple. So Dr. Gous is, he's an internationally recognized advocate in the neurodiversity space. And he chairs a session, he presents his paper, he's talking about his research, which, by the way, is on UNISA staff and students with neurodiversity. And he puts us on the platform of the biggest autism conference globally with UNISA's PowerPoint templates and everything. And he's welcomed there to Florida as a UNISA postdoc. And now he's back with a bank loan to repay. And nobody's even acknowledged that we've
put UNISA on that international stage, and he is paying a bank loan with interest. Please help us. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Glaskin-Johnsons. That is probably noted, and I think something will be done from today's deliberations. I don't think we have more hands. In the interest of time, is that a burning issue, Prof?
No, look, I asked a question about the training funds, né? So I was wondering, we have obviously two types of funds in the department, isn't it? The training funds for training skills development. Then there's a research fund. Is that not the fund where postdocs contribute the most to, in terms of the outputs that they actually produce? Should they not be allowed to be, be funded from that fund? I'm just asking. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. That question is also noted, and I think the relevant people will consider that. I'll note it, and then you will get the response probably before we leave. In the interest of time, colleagues, can we please give a round of applause to our senior postdoctoral fellows? At this juncture, we now move to our panel discussion, which will be facilitated by Dr. Somo. Can we please welcome Dr. Somo on stage to introduce the panelists?
Good afternoon, colleagues. I have set my timer, so we will not be going over time with the panelists. And I am Mokhaiji Somo, for those who don't know me. I am a senior lecturer in the Department of Psychology of Education. I research youth mental health and teacher and parent mental health literacy. Just by way of introduction and reflecting over the past week is that today, I don't know if you know, but it is Be Yourself World Day. And on my work here, I was listening to the radio, and they were saying, since it's Be Yourself World Day, what would you tell your 20-year-old self? And at first I thought, no, my life is perfect. Everything worked out perfectly. There's nothing I would redo. But I am sitting here listening to presentations from the postdoctoral fellows, and I've changed my mind. I think what I would tell my 20-year-old self is that do a PDF, be a postdoctoral fellow. And so I'm in a unique position of facilitating a conversation that I think is going to be awesome and great, because Dr. Kintolo and Dr. Kyla have done such a wonderful job showcasing the work that they do here. So I would have loved to be in their shoes, to work on my research, just to listen to just the silence of everything else and work on my research, because I'm incredibly passionate for research, and I thank Prof. Munyai for giving me this opportunity to facilitate this panel. So it's my pleasure and my privilege to be facilitating this panel. And to steal from Prof. Johnston, she said that the PDFs are the bloodline of cutting-edge research at the institution, and I couldn't agree more. We heard from the UNESCO chair in UNISA Africa, Nanoscience and Nanotechnology, some of the incredible work that they're doing to mitigate and address energy scarcity. And I found it wonderful that some of the key work is being done by research fellows. And so from this week, it has been a consistent and continuous theme that PDFs and research fellows are doing some key research. And we've heard this morning from the UNESCO chair in Odell, from Dr. Kintolo, that PDFs are doing incredible work in UNISA as an institution, so it's my pleasure and privilege to facilitate this conversation. So I would like to call up group 1. How we're going to do it is there are 29 PDFs that were invited to participate on the panels. Prof. Munyai wanted, as Dr. Kyla said, sometimes PDFs don't get the recognition that really we should acknowledge their work, but Prof. Munyai wanted to acknowledge that and recognize their work, and so he invited all 29 PDFs to participate in the panel. That means that we then divided the panel sessions into 4, and so we have 4 groups, and each group will tackle 1 question at a time. And so I would like to invite group 1 to please join Dr. Kyla and Dr. Akinsolo on the stage, and then we will address the first question. No one else from group 1 is here. Oh. So while they make their way up on the stage, they already had the question in advance, but what I would like to add is please, because there's so many PDFs, I'd like for you to please just start by stating your name and your department before you answer the question. But for everybody else, the question that we want to learn from Prof. Johnston highlighted some policy expectations of the PDF at the institution, but we want to learn from their lived experiences as PDFs. We want to learn some of the highlights, some of the things the work that they're doing that's exciting, and so we want to celebrate and get to know their work on that level. So for our first group, the question that we want them to engage us on is on the scope of work. So could you please tell us what is it that you actually do for UNISA? What is the goal or vision of your work as a PDF? And what do you do on a day-to-day and week-to-week basis?
Thanks so much. I'm Dr. Abodere. I'm a postdoc fellow, Department of Educational Foundation, and I resumed work March 1st this year. So just to tell you that I'm a new postdoctoral fellow. Regarding the question you posed to our group, what are the roles of postdoc fellow? I think that has been enumerated so far in the course of the speakers that have delivered a series of lectures today. But notwithstanding, I think the major goal is to contribute to the research output of the great university, University of UNISA, to contribute to research the research output of the university. And that is to say that we are to write and keep writing, keep writing. If you don't write, you don't publish, you perish. That's academics, and that's our major goal. And that is what I've been doing since I've resumed as a postdoc fellow in the faculty. And like my senior has said, it is optional if you allow us to mentor the young researcher, the student, PhD student too, and it's one of our roles. Then, as a postdoctoral fellow, we have to collaborate nationally and internationally, and that's why we're here. I'm not from this country, and I've met a lot of people from different countries since I've resumed as a postdoctoral fellow. So we have to collaborate nationally and internationally, and that's what the goal that I'm working toward. Daily, I don't know how many minutes is given to me, because I'm a teacher, so you know a teacher, I would like to talk with many hours. I don't know how many minutes you want me to.
No, brevity is appreciated, please. Thank you.
Okay. Personally, what I've been doing since I resumed as a postdoctoral fellow, early in the morning, I check my email to attend to correspondence from my supervisors, my mentor, my host, from the professor's department. I have to receive message, the research department, and attend to necessary correspondence from the department. Then I check related journals that are related to my area of specialization or research interest. And every morning, almost every day, you see me in the library. Like Dr. Akitolu said, no office for us. We use library and 24/7. Except that I have to be here today. You see me in the library. I don't have any business than to keep writing and writing as a postdoctoral fellow. I have that in best. Let me stop here. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm Dr. Teungwa James Agi from Mathematics Education. I'm here with my mentor, Prof. Machava. Prof? Your mentee. Yeah. Yeah. So far, like my colleague said, I just received my renewal for the 3rd year. I'll be going for the 3rd year. I resumed 1st July 2023. So far, 7 published articles, 4 accepted, 10 under review, and 6 ongoing. So I want to be like Akintolu at the end of the day, yes. And again, outside the publishing, as a postdoc, there are 4 goals of a postdoc globally. First, building research skills. Secondly, developing your professional skills. Third one, preparing future career and contributing to the research community. And outside these 4 goals, because of the importance of my field, mathematics education, I engage in community development in the country. Just this morning, I was talking with my mentor. The last time we were in Polokwane to train teachers. There's lack of mathematics teachers in the country. The foundation for mathematics education in the country is as bad as anything. Go to any primary school at the foundation first learners that are taught by those who don't have any idea of mathematics. And only this morning we were discussing how we're going to mathematize the whole of South Africa. Yes, we have to go back, see how we can train, declare a state of emergency on the issue of mathematizing the whole of South Africa, start the foundation on a solid foundation. We have to develop a project. I discussed with him. Luckily enough, he's the head. Let's have a project in the country whereby the government puts in money, get people who are ready to teach mathematics at the foundation level, train them, found them, give them the necessary equipment so that we have a solid foundation. Because now, as it stands, everybody goes in there to teach mathematics at the foundation level. And remember, when the foundation is very poor, there's no way you can have a solid building. Now that is the challenge. Just this morning, we got maize. We have to go to KZN to assist the grade 12 learners because they are preparing for exams. Just a month ago, I was in Mpumalanga to train teachers to teach the students. So as a postdoc, I go beyond the normal goals because the environment I am in demands more than this. But we're tied down somewhere along the line. I traveled with my colleagues. I give my input, but most of the times I'm treated differently because I'm a postdoc. The last time we stayed in Polokwane, we filled ourselves. They say, go there, come back, your subsistence will be paid. The last time, the one I traveled to Swaziland, it took over 8 months before I got it because I'm a postdoc. Rejections upon rejections, memos upon memos. And here are the people who wants to give it beyond what I expected. But then policy by the university, by those who are concerned. Issues are being raised. Issues of conference, I don't want to go into that because it has been raised. Page fee. Sometimes it's easier to struggle with editors than to struggle with the page fee people. I had a page fee I submitted November, was paid in April. So on and so forth. I can explain. I don't want to go into challenges.
Doc, let me...
Thank you very much.
Yes.
I will stop here.
Yeah.
I think I will be given an opportunity to talk more.
Thank you.
I don't know if I'm supposed to talk.
Yeah, Dr. Kaila and Dr. Akintolo, because you did the keynote, I would ask that perhaps you give a last opportunity to her. Thank you so much.
Okay, good afternoon, colleagues. My name is Adeiga Abisoye, and I'm a postdoctoral fellow at the Department of Curriculum and Instructional Studies. I started my postdoctoral fellowship January this year. And first thing first, under the mentorship of Professor Cedric Becky Mpogose. So I would first of all highlight the vision of a postdoctoral fellow before answering all the questions. Like my colleagues had said that postdoctoral fellows are to publish articles, and we are not just to publish articles, we are also to write grants, we are also to co-supervise students with the help of our mentors. And I want to delve more into the vision, and one of the visions that I wrote here is that as a postdoc, we are to cultivate highly skilled we are highly skilled independent researchers who will contribute significantly to academic advancement and innovation in our department, in the school, in UNISA generally. And I think one of your questions, Doc, is that we should state what we do, right? Yeah, on a daily basis. With the help of my mentor, I can categorically tell you, the audience, that I co-supervise 9 master's students and 2 PhD students in my department.
That's good.
Thank you very much. And aside that, we've also been writing, myself and my mentor, we've written some articles, and at the moment I've submitted 4 articles, and that's awaiting publication, and I'm still writing, like I write, and on a weekly basis we hold meetings with our students. We hold weekly basis twice, weekly with master's and PhD students. And what else do I want to talk about? Basically that we write, we supervise, we review their works, and that's it. Thank you very much, colleagues.
Colleagues, please give a round of applause to panel 1, group 1, and I'm going to ask group 2 to come up, please. While group 2 comes up, just a few reflections. I didn't know, so group 1 can please make way for group 2, thank you. I didn't know that publish or perish could be seen in a positive light. So thank you for that. It always sounds like something that's so negative, but I'm so glad you put it in a positive light. And then I know it's so good to, one of the themes that has been resonated during this research week is research translating into practice. And it was so good to hear about the idea of mathematizing South Africa. I love that idea, and it's so great to see research translating into practice in that way. And I think the theme of finances is something that is on the table. It's a discussion that's open, and I think that it's good to see that there are many advocates in the room for PDFs to be financially supported, and I know that that conversation will also translate into practice. So we note that theme of financial needs and financial providence, And Prof. Letseka has already pointed to policies that make way for PDFs to be financially supported by the research fund. And so we will move in line with policy from here on. Then for group 2, the question is, I love the question, comes from a key function from the PDF policy. And that part of the key function is to revitalize, diversify the research culture of an institution. And I love those 3 words, revitalize, diversify the culture of the researchers, the institution. Could you please tell us from your lived experiences, how have you done that? In some ways, have you done that at the department level, at the college level, and maybe at the institutional level?
Thank you very much. I want to introduce myself. My name is Dr. Muckleneuk. I am a postdoctoral fellow in the Department of Inclusive Education. Today I'm supported by my mentors, Prof. Mary Claskin Johnson, as well as Professor Enzo Johnson. And I want to start off by telling you a little bit about myself. So thank you first of all for this important question. As someone diagnosed with autism at the age of 3.5 years and non-speaking until the age of 15, my lived experience has shaped a deep passion for inclusion, advocacy, and transforming research culture. To me, revitalizing research culture means bringing fresh energy, new ideas, and innovation, challenging old, exclusive ways of working. It's about making research more engaging, impactful, and responsive to the diverse needs of community. Diversifying research culture means creating spaces where people of different background, abilities, and worldviews are not only included but valued. It means centering lived experience such as mine and the neurodivergent students that I currently work with, and welcoming a broad range of research methods beyond traditional approaches. At UNISA, I have worked actively to do this. I'm now in my 2nd year. I currently lead and pioneering neurodiversity research project that has engaged over 1,000 neurodivergent students at UNISA. This project is not about studying people as subjects, but about co-creating knowledge where each participant feels safe, seen, and empowered. This is ethical, participatory research in action. In addition to my leadership roles, I've published numerous articles focusing on neurodivergence, inclusive education, and human rights, contributing to knowledge that bridges lived experience in rigorous scholarship. These publications strengthen the research culture by promoting inclusive frameworks and encouraging more diverse interdisciplinary approaches. I have also helped and led the organizing of the World Autism Awareness and Acceptance Seminars at UNISA and led the first ever Autism Self-Advocacy side session that was held at the United Nations. That session was historic. It was the first time African or autism self-advocates from the continent of Africa shared their stories globally, helping to challenge colonial silences and center African knowledge. Beyond the university, my leadership roles as the president of the international board my leadership roles as the president of ICDL board of members of South Africa's United Nations Steering Committee allows me to bring African and global South perspectives to global policy and research conversations. This helps shift narratives and elevate underrepresented voices in the research ecosystem. And finally, I want to end off with 2 points. My work shows that revitalizing research culture is not just about innovation. It's about creating belonging. It means reimagining who gets to ask the questions, whose stories we need to tell, and how we embed inclusion at the heart of our methods and missions. I am committed to sustaining these changes over time, knowing that building inclusive research culture is a long-term journey. I believe this approach enriches the institution, strengthens knowledge production, and ensures that no one is left behind. I want to become a lecturer and a professor here at UNISA to contribute towards the paradigm shift and to make sure that no one is leaving behind.
Thank you. I'm Dr. Fatsukun Jonathan from the Department of Science and Technology Education. I started my postdoctoral journey the year 2023, and just like my colleague Dr. Age, our contract have just been renewed recently. Throughout this period, talking about revitalizing and diversifying research culture, I want to refer to just 3 concepts. The first one is collaboration. There is the room for interdisciplinary collaboration, whereby we conduct and carry out research with other colleagues from other departments and other colleges. Presently, I have a colleague from other departments in the college that we are writing together, aside writing with my mentor, whom we have published articles together with and a chapter in book, particularly in highly rated journals that my mentor was particularly interested in. It's actually demanding to publish in high-rated journals. They keep correcting and correcting several times. There was an article we tried to publish. They corrected about 4 or 5 times, but eventually we scaled through. Aside collaborating with colleagues from other disciplines and other departments, there's also the aspect of mentorship. I take delight in mentoring others. Initially, when we came in, there was this idea that we are not supposed to supervise. There's no room for that. Then I talked to my mentor. Later, I gave in and said, we can co-supervise 2 PhD students together. And through infusing my background in research, we have been able to move this student forward. One of them is already analyzing data now. One has presented a proposal, and very soon the 2 of them will be graduated. On diversity, there's this idea. I came with the background of being a technology expert, technology education. But when I came in, I met my mentor with researching in IKS. So then he said, we need to write chapters in book. I have to devote time and energy in that. We're able to write a chapter. We're able to write a chapter and book together, and then write other articles in that line. So outside my own field, TVET and technology, I've been able to do that. And aside that, we talk about seminars and workshops in conferences, local and international. We have talked about international. I got my paper peer-reviewed and accepted in an international conference, but due to the itch we couldn't present that article. However, we have I've attended about 3 conferences where we met also colleagues and senior colleagues from international audience. Some at the conference, they said, oh, I'm interested in your focus. Please share with me. They took my email and we have to collaborate together. At the last conference we attended, after presenting my article, a colleague from UJ also interacted and said, I like that your presentation. Can you please forward it to me so that we can collaborate together? We know what you are doing at UNISA, and then we can integrate at UJ. These are some of the ways I, in my own capacity, have contributed towards diversifying research culture at UNISA. Thank you.
Good afternoon, colleagues. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I'm so happy. I'm so excited. My name is Dr. Andy Le Gidiani. I'm from the Department of Curriculum and Instructional Studies. I started my postdoctoral fellowship last year, September, at the beginning of September 2024, and I'm under the mentorship of Professor Cedric Begimpungose. So, just to answer the question that was posed to us about how do we revitalize and diversify the research culture in our departments and also into the institution at large. Firstly, I will start with the first aspect of how do I revitalize the research. Firstly, I will talk about 2 points in this section. That is mentorship and also the support. Okay, when I joined as a postdoctoral fellow last year, my mentor introduced me to his cohort of students for 2024, and we meet every week, every Wednesday from 6 to 8 p.m. to have supervision meetings, to take them step by step, you know, on how, from proposal stage. And right now, most of them, they are waiting for the ethical clearance. We are really making progress. So in these meetings, I've presented 2 times on the steps, step by step of how to write the literature review chapter. So when I started, okay, Prof told me that he had some 3 of his students that were lagging behind because of some personal issues that they were facing, and he allocated them to me so that I can be able to support them, to encourage them. And I was so excited about that because from my institution where I did my PhD, I worked as a student support counselor. So I was able to assist them, to encourage them to, because most of our students are full-time teachers, you know, how to manage their time and also how to give time to their studies, taking notes. That I also did my PhD while I was working. So I was excited about that, and I used to even organize individual meetings just to make sure that they actually submit their proposals so that they move forward. And that is something I'm really passionate about, to mentor others. Okay, then also in the leadership of my mentor, there's an ongoing project at the TVET colleges where we try to train them on the use of educational technologies, where we went last year in Durban, and we are going to go again this year, because last year it was just a needs analysis, and now we are going to go and continue to train them. Then also, based on that data that we got last year, I was able to present a paper at the TIER conference just in April this year, which is under review, that I co-authored with my supervisor, with my mentor. So that's what I've been doing, and these supervision meetings, like I said, they go on every week, and there are 10 of them, 9 masters and 1 PhD student. Okay, now going on into
Dr. Giuliani.
Okay.
That is an excellent contribution. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you so much. Oh, I can continue. Oh, okay.
So I think we only have time for the rest of you to have your 3 minutes, and then that will conclude our time for the panel.
Okay, sorry, can I just, on the part of diversifying research, can I just say one point?
Just 1 point, thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, I'm sorry for that. Okay, but on the point of diversifying the research into in my department and also into the university, what I would say is that besides the traditional way of doing research, what I'm doing also is that I incorporate the reflective approaches to research. I have 2 articles that are under review. One of it is an autoethnographic study, and another is a narrative research. So that's what I'm doing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Good afternoon. My name is Dr. Njabulo Dube. I'm from in the Department of Maths Education. In my 2 minutes and 30 seconds that is left, I'll just summarize everything that I wrote here because I thought it would be 5 minutes. But I started my postdoc in February 1st this year. So I have 4 months. In these 4 months, then I was happy to work with the mentor, Professor Mhlamulo Mbiza, who introduced me in this space of research. So in 4 months that we met, he taught me a lot in terms of research. So he introduced me in terms of research. We already wrote 4 articles, which is 2 for conference and 2 for journal paper, for journal. Then in the space of 4 months, he also taught me that Njabulo, it's not about the research in the space of education. You also have to supervise and teaching. So he introduced me in his modules. So I'm lecturing his modules, 2 modules for honors and advanced diploma. So he's leading in one of his module, which is honors student. Then I'm leading in the advanced diploma module. So I have to lecture there. So he always called me in the morning and say, "Are you ready for the lecture today?" Because I need to make sure that I'm ready to in the space of research and teaching. And he also allowed me to co-author one of his master students, who's I can't tell his name, but he's one of master's student, which is he just sent me 2 chapters yesterday. Then I have to review his chapters and working with my mentor. Also, in this space of 4 months, I also finished my research project, which is already submitted in the NRF funding, which titles the rural grade 10 to 12 learners mathematics. The rural grade 10 to 12 learners mental construction and difficulties in learning trigonometry and analytical geometry in KwaZulu-Natal. So with this project, I'm hoping to engage with and help the rural schools to achieve better results through my fundings and this research project. So I'm aiming to produce different papers and contribute to the research space and also contribute to UNISA. Thank you.
Good afternoon, colleagues. My name is Dagogo William Legjack, a postdoctoral fellow in the Institute for Open and Distance Learning under the mentorship of Dr. Young Kelly. Since we have limited time to talk, I just want to link my contribution to one aspect of the UNISA research culture, which is on problem solving. I am somebody with a passion on seeing how problems are solved. Coming from a TVET background, I did a research that developed a model on how to improve TVET provision. And I presented it at a virtual conference in the US last month. So I just want to talk also to another research I published on how to sustain digital transformation at a historically disadvantaged university. In fact, we have one paper published on that project. Then also, we also have another paper published, or I have a paper published on how to guide students on career choices in high school. So far, I would say on the aspect of diversifying the research culture of the institution, like my colleague mentioned, Dr. Jonathan, I have a collaboration with some persons outside my field, and also I am trying to, there's a particular paper I am doing right now on how to sustain open distance learning at TVET institution, especially those from disadvantaged regions. Then also, I also want to say something about postgraduate capacity development. I would say maybe, let me use this to pass an information across. I already have a foundation or a background from another institution on this. I would say like I am underutilized on that wouldn't say it's unfortunate. It's fortunate that I belong to the Institute for Open and Distance Learning, where you don't have students to teach, although students are being supervised there. But I have come to understand that having passed through 3 different universities here in South Africa, I see that postgraduate students suffer a lot when they start their program, they find it difficult to complete. And some drop out, not that they don't have the funding. Sometimes they don't know what to do. And they don't get good feedbacks from their supervisors. So I try to develop a skill on how to ensure that students don't remain in the system. In fact, from my previous institution, I was able to initiate approaches on how to make students feel comfortable in their program and how to also push their studies and finish in record time. Also, this idea of capacitating novice researchers, especially lecturers who are just graduating in the system. In my previous institution, I was at the institutional level, and some of the lecturers I pushed, particularly, they have good results presently. So I am saying, right now, considering the duration of stay here in UNISA, I have not done much, and I have not been immersed much into the system. But this is the areas I can do. If they tap into this, I believe that we'll have something to do with in terms of how to revitalize and diversify the university research culture. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm going to ask, thank you so much. Let's give our group 2 a round of applause. I think one of the themes as group 3 makes their way up, but I'm wondering if group 4 shouldn't join them as well, and then we just do one last panel, combine group 3 and group 4, so group 4 can also come up. But I think the theme from group 2 is, as per Dr. Hos and Dr. Lekjak and Dr. Jireyani, is that there should be no one left behind. I think Dr. Hos talked about there should be no lecturer left behind, there should be no PDF left behind. And then Dr. Lekjak, I think you were highlighting that there should be no student left behind. So it is so phenomenal to see that the PDFs are contributing towards a culture where no one is left behind. And I'm grateful to have learned that this afternoon. Oh, yes, yeah. Doc, here's a chair for you, please. Yeah. For group 3, there was a question, and then for group 4, we were hoping to take questions from the audience and ask group 4 to then answer those questions, and I think we'll leave it like that. So I'm going to pose the question to our panelists in group 3 and ask them that they then respond, and then our group 4 panelists, I will then take questions from our audience, and then I'll ask you to please respond to the questions from the audience if you don't mind. Part of the policy for PDFs at UNISA is to strengthen research competencies and skills of UNISA employees and postgraduate students. And Dr. Jireyani and Dr. Lekjak have already given us a little bit of a taste of what that looks like, but could you, in your experience, tell us what does that look like, and in what ways have you upskilled, have you contributed towards increasing the research competencies of the staff at UNISA and the postgraduate students? Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Haudemola Bisim from the Department of Inclusive Education. I started my postdoc in 2022 under the mentorship of Prof. Pasha. And as regards the question of strengthening research capacities for postgraduate students, fortunately, Prof. Pasha has provided me with the opportunity to co-supervise with her 2 master students and 1 PhD candidate. And I have so far critically read their work and provided suggestions and improvements on their papers. And I believe this has helped in terms of assisting these students to improve their research capacities. And just a few weeks ago, we sent feedback to a PhD students, to our PhD students proposal, which is complete. And then regarding how I assist in terms of strengthening research skills for the colleagues or employees, I would rather use the word colleagues instead of employees. So it's just collaboration and collaboration, talk to each other. If maybe I write a paper, I send it to one of the colleagues, they send it to me, I make my suggestions and give them feedback. But notably, we have our writing retreat weekly in the department. Tuesdays from 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock. And in this writing retreat, we just sit and say out our objectives for the day, and then write and write and write. At the end, we give each other feedback. And that feedback from me, I believe also it will help the colleagues to improve on their research skills. And it doesn't end there. During conference presentations, we attend each other's presentations, and during those presentations, I also make an effort to give suggestions, give feedback to the papers that are presented. So I believe that also contributes to improving the research skills of the colleagues. Thank you.
That's excellent. Thank you.
Afternoon, colleagues. My name is Dr. Rosemary Madzore from the Department of Educational Psychology or Educational Foundations. In relation to our core responsibility of research capacitation, which involves strengthening the research competencies of UNISA employees and postgraduate students, we have been collaborating with the fellow professors and also doctors. What has enabled me in this journey is first and foremost the supportive academic environment within the Department of Educational Foundations. I've also had the privilege of working closely with my mentor, Professor Gasa, whose guidance, wisdom, and collaborative approach have greatly enriched my capacity to make meaningful contributions. With my mentor, we have facilitated several research capacity building initiatives, including workshops and qualitative research methodologies, proposal writing, and academic writing for publications. These sessions have served as valuable platforms for emerging researchers to develop confidence and competence in their scholarly work. And I've also collaborated with my colleague's mentor, Dr. Danke. I've also contributed to the book called Widowed Issues. And also I'm engaged in community work. We have got a project which is being led by Dr. Met, and we have also recently published an article with the Dr. Met. Beyond group sessions, I offer one-on-one mentoring to postgraduate students, guiding them through research design, literature review, data analysis, and thesis development. I also support turning their work into publishable outputs, and in some cases, co-authoring with early careers academics. And we have been attending different workshops, conferences, and also an area I'm particularly passionate about is the integration of indigenous knowledge system into research, particularly the Ubuntu philosophy, and also working with the Prof. Gasa. We have supported students in developing research that is not only academical rigorous, but also grounded in African epistemologies and also values. This has led to more contextually relevant and empowering research for students and communities. What has encouraged me most is the genuine enthusiasm from the students and colleagues who are eager to grow. And what excites me is seeing that growth taking shape, whether through a submitted thesis, a published article, or increased confidence of developing scholar work. Looking ahead, Prof. Gasa and I, we are working towards developing a structured mentorship model that can be adopted across departments. We also hope to establish interdisciplinary research clusters and create tools and resources to support further research grounded in African knowledge systems. In conclusion, this postdoctoral journey has been more than just personal development. It has been a platform for service, mentorship, and collaboration. I thank you.
Good afternoon, colleagues. My name is Dr. Gibson Mokamore. I just joined the PDF this February. So my presentation is going to be a mini skit, very short and precise. I don't have much that I'm going to. I'm working under the mentorship of Professor VP Mahlangu. I call him Vice President. He's a very good mentor. Since coming, he has actually given me an opportunity to work with a student in making sure that I look at the proposal writing. He's a master's student, and I've just done that and completed, waiting to hear the feedback. And also in the department, I'm in the Department of Educational Leadership and Management. Already there's a proposal that I'm going to be getting some students in masters to supervise, which is a very welcoming endeavor and initiative. I also, during my short time as a PDF, because of the issue of capacity, because we're looking at the issue of capacitating and strengthening research, one of the colleagues, an employee, also approached me so that we can have an article together, of which already groundwork is being done on that issue. And also in the department, we collaborate with other colleagues there to write some articles. So as I'm speaking also, because of collaboration, I've already written an article, an abstract already, and that has been accepted in the Commonwealth, PC11 Commonwealth, where there is going to be a conference that is going to take place in Botswana. The abstract has already been accepted, talking about the development of an open education, gender inclusive teaching methodology. So it's one of my areas that I really like. I'm a gender specialist and I enjoy gender issues. So thank you very much. In short, that's what I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Good afternoon. My name is Dr. Tsiwo Khutumatsekule. I've started my postdoc last year, October. Thus far, there are a few things that I've done. I presented the MMD workshop, where I've presented the qualitative research approach, looking at the different aspects of the qualitative research. I've also, within that short period of time, I'm part of the group project where I'm the co-editor, which is entitled Enabling Indigenous Knowledge System in Action Research and Action Learning, which is about to be published maybe next month, because now we are busy with proofreading. I'm also co-supervising one master student with my mentor, which is Prof. Mapotse. The student now is busy with the proposal. I'm also part of community engagement project, which which is led by Prof. Gumbo, which will start next month with the project. Thank you.
Thank you. I think group 3 have all presented, so I don't know if you want to remain or if you want to get off stage, but either one is okay. Yeah. I had asked group 4 to just share with us the lessons that they've learned from being a PDF and how those lessons have helped them to shape their future. And I've also asked them if they would be willing to answer some questions. So if we could, maybe you can share your lessons briefly, and then if you don't mind, maybe each of you, if there are questions from the audience, can briefly tackle one question. So I'm not sure, are there any burning questions for the PDFs? Or could we allow them to share the lessons that they've learned in this journey and how those lessons have, yes, Prof. Ngubane.
Thank you. I would like to know, how do they see themselves contributing to the realization of the UNISA strategy, including the realization of the catalytic niche areas? Thank you.
I think that's a great question. Any other questions? I'll take one last burning question. Okay, colleagues, thank you so much for your time, and please just rotate the mics between the 4 of you. Please tell us the lessons that you've learned, and then someone can just answer Prof. Ngubane's question. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm Dr. Beatrice Taringa. My joining UNISA as a postdoctoral fellow is actually exciting and an adventure. Given that I had, from undergrad up to PhD, I'm from the University of Zimbabwe. That was just a closed system. And coming to UNISA, actually, it was an adventure to me. So I learned a number of lessons. First, I learned that we have to have a sound relationship. And it's not like some relationships are meant to be like that, but we sweeten them ourselves. Myself as a mentee and my mentor, Professor T.V. Manyike, we made an effort to sweeten our relationship so that we are now sisters in the academia. Initially, I had anxiety, feeling afraid, uncomfortable, and through experiencing and interacting with her, I gained some confidence. That she organized for us and interacting with other colleagues, I really learned a lot. And through her orientation, I realized that there is no formula, not even a beginning and an end, or a graduation point when you see I've mastered research. And also, I learned that writing for publication is an art. You cannot learn it overnight, or else ask someone who has published to simply give you notes and then follow those notes. It's not like that. It's just an adventure. You bump in, you get into that journal, you are rejected, you follow the corrections, you resend it to another journal, it's accepted. And when it comes, it's full of corrections. All I learned is it's very important to be patient. It's not like after corrections, anyone would know that Taringa had this article corrected 7 times. Rather, they would see quality in my work after I would have utilized the corrections from my peers. So another issue that I learned is that from my mentor, I learned that I was supposed to carve a niche area as an indigenous language educator. I don't have to research on everything and anything in the languages, but to have a niche area. And why is it important? It's like I then interact and discuss with my colleagues in the area where I have interest. And by having that niche area and concentrating on that one, it would then mean that I'll do justice in the area. And I cannot just publish in any journal according to my mentor. There are certain journals that talk to my niche area that will then have the traffic that I need to follow me. And what I learned, especially from my mentor, was that I cannot close a territory around myself. Having her as my co-author and other colleagues, it would mean that the traffic that is following her, the traffic that is following my colleagues, is now also following me, which means I widen my readership. So those are the major issues that I learned. Scouting for journals is not like any journal listed on the DHET list. There are certain journals that have a niche area so that I'll avoid frustration in just throwing the articles, they are rejected, and then you get frustrated. Because really it's a whole jungle. You get frustrated in this issue of scouting for a journal. And for those who are still new postdocs, yeah, you want to grow, but don't start up with those journals where you are going to take 2 years, because you would need those two points for you to renew the contract. Otherwise, you lose it. So there are certain levels. These journals have got levels. And as Prof. Manyike just told me recently that Taringa, you are now getting in your second year, may you scale up. Then hunt for those scopers. And
Dr. Taringa.
I'm not even worried because already I have 11 publications so far, which means in terms of coming in even for senior postdoc, I'm almost eligible. And now I'm now flexing my muscle and of course position myself in the area and demonstrate that indeed in the indigenous language education, I am a block. Rather than throwing in the Routledge, throwing to that Springer Nature, and then you take 2-3 years for you to get a publication. Because right now for the articles that I'm now receiving from those big journals like Taylor and Francis, they are from 2023. But the Prophet told me, you can throw them, right? If you have managed to score at least 2 publications, then you throw them and you wait for 2 years. Then it's okay, I have no issues. This is why you realize that in 2025 alone, already, I now have 5 publications in 2025. It's easier that way, but they are coming all the way from 2023. So, ladies and gentlemen, and especially for my colleagues, the postdocs, this is actually an issue. You grow professionally. You scale up with time. You don't just jump into the deep end. Go to that Q1 Scopus journal, and then you drown. You get frustrated, and then you feel like you can't continue. So those are the issues. Then the ups and downs. You publish today, you realize that in the next year, the article, the journal has been delisted. It's possible. Don't worry. That's the journey. The jungle is that the terrain is just rough. So in terms of the learning points, confidence, perseverance, resilience, and following instructions. Because remember, it's a learning curve. There is someone who is there to mentor you. So as they give you instructions and they give you comments, don't get frustrated. You are growing up. After all, if people are reading my articles, they don't even know that Prof. Manyike corrected them 3-4 times, but they only see quality in me. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's important.
Dr. Taringa, we are at risk. We are at risk.
Oh,
you and me are at risk. Thank you.
All
right, so I think Dr. Taring has already exhausted a lot of things, but I'm just going to emphasize on the things that I've learned during my postdoctoral tenure. I'm in my third year currently under Prof. Gasa, similar to Dr. Mazore. Yeah, so what I've really learned from all these experiences, besides the publications and all the politics that comes with it, is to actually go further. And I guess in my line of research, it has to do with advocacy and community engagement. And similar to some of the presenters, I'm very much embedded into disability inclusion in the TVET space and the digitalization that comes with it. So part of the things that I've learned has to do with the advocacy, talking with the people that are, involved in the research and getting them to be politically, enfranchised in their lives and all the things that they do. So that has been the biggest, things that I've learned. And also, I've also learned to go over and beyond also in the sense that I've also been involved in coordinating the international TIRE conferences for 2 years in consecutive 2 years, which I think has been the major, highlight of my postdoctoral tenure. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
Good day, colleagues. My name is Dr. Shoko in the Department of Educational Foundations under the mentorship of Dr. Danke. I'll just talk about the key lessons that I learned through the postdoctoral journey. The first lesson that I learned was that collaboration is essential. When I engaged with colleagues across disciplines, it showed me the value of diverse perspectives, and it also led to innovative solutions and enhanced the quality of my research. Then another thing that I learned through the journey was effective communication. Whether it's presenting the research findings or writing papers, clear communication is crucial. And I guess this will help me in future public engagement as well. The journey also taught me to be resilient and adaptable. As we all know, research involves a lot of setbacks. Sometimes you think you have written quite a good article and then it's rejected. So instead of losing focus, I had to develop resilience, and this has taught me to adapt and pivot in response to challenges, a skill that will help me in future roles as well. Then it also taught me mentorship. This I experienced through being mentored, as well by being a mentee. This has reinforced my desire to support and guide the next generation of researchers. I also learned how to build professional networks, the importance of building professional networks. And I gained this through attending conferences, which has opened doors for future collaborations and opportunities. Then lastly, this journey taught me work-life balance, the importance of maintaining a healthy work-life balance to sustain long-term productivity and creativity. I thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, colleagues. My name is Dr. Onolapo Akinlulu from Nigeria. I work under the supervision, under the mentorship of Professor Zunguzi Nati. And I must thank Professor Ngumbani for the welcoming. She's indeed a mother in IODL. She's a mother. She welcomed us very well because I just came in January as a first-time postdoc, and I can see that we are, me and my supervisor, mentor, we are really making progress. And I will be joining also the IODL support searchlight, which Professor Mbati will be coordinating, I think, next month. This will allow us to give orientation to staffs that are doing their PhDs and masters, staffs of IODL across the regions. So I'll be joining them also. Then key lessons learned. I can say that I have learned a lot. I have learned a lot today, and I want to publish more articles. I want to write book chapters. I'm encouraged by the works of our senior postdocs, and I hope by the second year I should be at least closer to them. I've submitted some articles. There are yet to get the page fees, and I wish I can get that together so that I can get another year very soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Doc. I think that was a great way to conclude, to say that you are encouraged by senior postdocs. I'm encouraged by all of you. In conclusion, what I do want to say is that there's another theme, is that there are numerous new PDFs who are represented today, and I'm so grateful and excited to see that none of them shied away from this opportunity to say, I've been here for only a few months and yet I have something to contribute towards Research Week. And I've heard a lot of you saying, I've only been here for a few months, but they've done a lot of work. So I'm encouraged by all of you PDFs, and I want to take this opportunity to thank you, all of you, for preparing for this time, for showing up here and for sharing us your honest and transparent lived experiences. I have learned a lot, and believe you me, I'm very jealous. Colleagues, thank you so much. What I've learned from this session on PDFs is that we have stellar PDFs in this college, but we also have stellar supervisors. It stood out to me that the PDFs are doing excellent and wonderful work, but it also stood out that the supervisors are capacitating the PDFs to do that work and enabling them to change the culture of the university, to contribute towards the strategic niche areas, and to capacitate postgraduate research as well as colleague research. As I was very, I think I enjoyed that correction to say it's not staff, it's not employees, it's colleagues. So I really, that was a highlight for me. Thank you so much for indulging us, and thank you for our PDFs, for sharing their lived experiences, and thanks to Prof. Moyai for this wonderful opportunity to hear what our colleagues are doing in changing and impacting the culture of research in SEDU and at the institution. Thank you.
Thank you so much, colleagues. Can you give yourselves a round of applause? It's 8 minutes to 4, and my role is to say thank you to you. And what you are going to do now is to stand up. Whew. You've been sitting for so long. Just stand up and stretch. And while you are standing, allow me to thank the program director, thank Prof. Munyai and the office for organizing, thank our keynotes, Prof. Johnson and Miss Karin Neiman and their office for always supporting our postdoctoral fellows. Thank our super PDFs, you are called the seniors. And thank all the PDFs for coming to UNISA. By the way, you might not even realize When we started here, there were very few of you, and now there's more of you. At the moment, UNISA is number 6 in the rankings. You've been brought here so that those rankings can go up. So I can hear all of you are talking about your individual achievements, but see the bigger picture is that you are here to contribute towards not just research in terms of output, but even global impact. Remember we said proudly African? Thank you, globally relevant. So start talking to each other. Start talking to each other and collaborating so that at the end of the day, we can get to the impact that we want. Allow me to just say that there's phenomenal work that is happening here in our college. And if we don't realize it, I know most of you are exhausted. There's more and more work. There's more challenges. You are talking about politics. Believe me, there is no work without challenges. But it is the challenges that propel all of us. Even us, we have the challenges that you have. But all that you need to do is understand your department, talk well to your administrators, by the way. They are the key. If you are not nice to your admin, you'll stay with your page fees hanging there. I'm sorry to say that. But have a very good relationship with your admin and be a friend to the office of Prof. Munyai, because their role is to support you. So as I thank you, let me say this because it's our role to say these things. The PCF 11, those people that have been approved and their papers have gone through, don't worry, we are organizing a bus to Botswana. And that's what the dean asked me to say before she left. To say, don't stress about that, just finish your papers and submit them on time. We are going to Botswana regardless of the moratorium. So those that will have their papers approved, when it's all done, please give them to Dr. Akintolu. Then we'll organize the bus for all of us to go. Then secondly, in recognition of the wonderful work that you do as PDF and mentors, by the way, there's the mentorship awards that we've been talking about. Nominate yourselves, nominate each other, and you come and be recognized for the work that you do in the mentorship, because now we have a category for PDFs. Okay? Then, thank you so much. And because we are good people, get to the closest person to you, whether you give them a hug or you shake hands. But as Africans, remember, we are proudly African. And as Africans, we are people that are filled with gratitude. And when you are filled with gratitude, then your energy is always there and you are able to perform more. So thank each other for the wonderful work that we've done here today and the wonderful work that we do for this university. I wish you well. Please enjoy your food outside. Thank you so much.
you.